Operation Last Laugh, also known as Memes 5, was organized by Moonlight MvM and hosted by Pineapple.TF, releasing on March 31st of 2023 and ending on April 17th. The charity they supported was Food for the Hungry, with a goal set to be $5,000 US. By the end of its runtime, they raised a grand total of $49,010.55. As of right now, Operation Last Laugh is the final entry to the series, and for that matter it is the final revolution, as it did many things that are now associated with the modern era of Community MvM, of which is past 2023 from Rewired Rampage and Holographic Harvest. However, in 2025, after the merge of Moonlight and Potato, the meme series would see a revival in 2026, which would eventually break the 3-year gap of the last ever memes event. So in the near future, is will eventually become was. Now for the biggest elephants in the room. Why was Last Laugh the last ever memes event? Well, simply put, the creators weren't motivated to continue the series further. It's perhaps too simple to be true, and I'm sure many people will be disappointed to hear of this fact after so many years of waiting, but it really was as simple as that. If you've been watching the past few videos on the meme series, you might have caught on to the fact that they were basically made by the same pool of creators. And that's generally because Moonlight was a more private group compared to Potato, as they have to seek out new talent for adding more missions to their events, which is exactly what they did when it came to developing Last Laugh, which I will be dubbing as Memes 5 onwards. Of the 9 creators from Memes 3 to 4 that came back for 5, only 4 of them have returned, and 3 new creators have been outsourced for the event. They could have done the same thing for future meme events, but from what I can gather, only 2 from the old guard were willing to continue the series. It was kind of clear then that the yearly launches of memes events weren't going to last forever, and so the creators were ready to end the series with Memes 5, which is how the event got its name and had a few hints towards the fact that I will be discussing later. For now, let's talk about what they did for Memes 5 from a technical and gameplay standpoint. For the past 2 years, by this point, Raphmod was extensively used for the purposes of shitposting in ways that vanilla tools couldn't. However, in late 2022, the series would also see a brand new scripting tool brought in from the base game, that being VScript. It is essentially a source mod, but now a part of the base game that works completely right out of the box, so there's no need for third-party plugins. It is far more technical and more broadly applicable compared to Raphmod, and you could also make missions entirely off of VScripts, but that isn't to say that VScripts would entirely replace it in the Community MvM scene. Even though it is capable of doing a lot more cooler things, both tools can be made to work together. This is by and large the most revolutionary addition to Community MvM, as well as TF2 as a whole, but besides that, I don't have much else to say on it because it really just does a billion things. The second major thing to mention is the resurgence of meme maps after 5 years. In the first ever memes entry, there was a map called Shadows featuring a mission of the same title. That mission predominantly featured soldier bots colored in black and fully utilized the gimmicks provided with the map, including UFOs and Halloween effects, and it was pretty awesome from the last time I played it. With Memes 5, there were 2 maps introduced, the first being 4, 5, 3, 15, 25, which translates to decoy from matching numbers with the alphabet. This map kind of does the same thing as Shadows, but it also brought in something completely new, which was gameplay segments with unique layouts and environments, and goddamn does this featured mission absolutely boggle your mind. The second map was called Orloro. It's a very weird and open map that looks like you're in the void dimension, and the map's textures are all one solid color. This map, in regards to Memes 5, would host this mega collab mission, where several creators come together to work on 1 or 2 ways for the mission. And much like the previous map, it cannot be put into words with what you go through here. Then the third and last major thing was the expansion of the whole custom item attribute system. Now, there is a full-on source mod menu that allows you to purchase custom upgrades pertaining to various items and weapons, as well as custom equipable items. You can put price tags on said things, although sometimes there will be a weapon or item that could be set to not refund you the credits, which is dumb, but whatever. With a newly revamped system, this operation will have 2 brand new mission types to the series. The first was a reverse mission that was brought in by Rewired Rampage. Here, instead of defending the hatch, you attack with a bomb and fight through segmented areas and deploy onto the hatch for several waves straight. Then the second was 1 class missions from Holographic Harvest, where every player was locked to 1 single class and custom upgrades and weapons were provided to offer more loadout diversity. All the memes about beating missions as 1 singular class have now become full reality with these kinds of missions, and it can be pretty damn fun. Regarding the smaller things, I can only recount 2 that are important to the series. In previous entries, they were able to change up the wave number in the wave bar. However, with Memes 5, they could also change the mission's title mid-session. For the most part, these are like Easter eggs that you can bring up in the scoreboard every so often, but occasionally they can throw in some foreshadowing or have a funny tagline when you beat a mission. The other thing was the use of color correction. In the past, they would usually flash a color before fading it out, but there are now gameplay segments where the colors are altered for special occasions. In my opinion though, they did kinda went too overboard with this, where the colors were either too saturated or undersaturated. And these featured segments do take a bit to get through, so your eyes do become strained after a while. And now let's talk about the content of Memes 5. In regards to the entertainment Memes 5 provided, there is not really much I can speak of, to be honest. Compared to Memes 4 as well as Memes 3 for that matter, this operation didn't really see any piece of mainstream media that was overused quite a lot. It was more or less like Memes 2 where the missions really just did their own thing. That isn't to say that one was better or worse than the other though. I know I harked on a series quite a lot for overusing memes, in particular with Memes 1, but in defense of the series, I would like to say that meme missions are really just a celebration of internet culture around their time. It's best to think of them as time capsules, and I'm sure the creators were just doing their own thing and anything that sort of bled into each other were just mere coincidences, more or less. Plus, it's not like they were entirely constrained to just internet memes. There has been multiple missions in the past that do manage to be quirky without them, as well as those that you probably wouldn't consider as memes, but were solely based off of video games or just wanted to show off a cool gimmick that otherwise wouldn't fit traditional MvM. But it is understandable that someone who's looking to laugh at memes probably wouldn't find these other kinds of meme missions entertaining. All that said though, you'll still see some mainstream media around this time such as Squid Games, Breaking Bad, as well as a few gaming references here and there like Pizza Tower and Ultra Kill. While the memes are rather toned down compared to the ones before it, I will say that the unique gameplay elements that Memes 5 brought are definitely a cut above the rest, thanks to the new features introduced as well as the new meme maps for that matter. When bouncing off of the previous entry, the missions have pretty much just done away with Deus Ex Machinas and instead have returned the tradition of shooting a big enemy to death. There are some notable exceptions of course, but I will say the experience here is a lot less predictable. However, unlike Memes 4, there was no central plot a majority of the missions followed, other than just the usual medal reward after beating plenty of missions. As a consequence, part of the continuity that was established with the prior events was left behind. It's really unfortunate too, because it would have been nice to see the characters including the narrators from the 4th entry return here. And the reason why I say this is in regards to Memes 5 and the point that I mentioned earlier in the video. What Memes 5 was supposed to be was that it was going to be the last memes entry Moonlight would ever work on, but I can tell you right now that they didn't exactly make this as big of a last hurrah, despite what the operation's title would lead you to believe. Now, I don't intend to discredit what the team had delivered on with this entry. Regardless of how many corners they've cut and how tight it came towards whatever deadline they set for themselves, the missions here have all come out pretty great. And it has been shown time and time again that the audience loves the experiences they put out. But if I were to go in with the expectations of a 5-year celebration to a one-of-a-kind series that would soon be retired, I would be disappointed that they didn't give it much of a well-deserving farewell. Maybe it was because they only had half of the original team, but some missions were either kind of alluding to the end of the series, or just simply weren't in on it. And I do want to say specifically the missions here because Moonlight was actively trying to say it, but it was done through an ARG in their Discord community. One of the contributors of the missions is credited as Me Smiley, which is very obviously a fake account as it was made specifically as a gag. However, clicking on the account's alias tab, there is a link that brings you to a paste bin with a giant string of text and a message at the end saying, "In the halls of knowledge, the tallest tower that left humanity in disarray, you will find the truth there," with a set of letters and numbers. This is referring to the Library of Babel, which is a very weird database with a bunch of gibberish that apparently holds the knowledge of the universe. In order to solve this ARG, you have to input the string of code into the browse section and select wall number 3, shelf number 4, and volume number 22. This will then bring you a 410-page book of gibberish. Apparently the Moonlight team completely forgot the page number you're supposed to look for and had to put in the announcement channel the day after the launch of the event, but going to page number 124 reveals a passage of comprehensible English, a transcript of a message from one of the robots towards Greyman. It is quite a long message, which you can pause the video and read, but basically the meme portal Greyman has been weaponizing for the past 5 events have become too volatile and unpredictable, resulting in many robot casualties, and as a result they will have to abandon it. So yeah, the ARG was a very roundabout way of saying that Memes 5 would conclude the series for now, and even then it's something very few people go out of their way to search for, perhaps even come to the conclusion of. With the missions also giving rather mixed messages and being wish-washy about it, people didn't exactly catch on to the fact that it was truly the end of the series back then. It only took a few days after the event's duration that the team officially announced it, that there would be no plans to continue the meme series any longer. And of course they had to elaborate on it in the next year, with with an April Fool's joke and an actual declaration that Meme 6 wasn't gonna happen at all. Could they have made Memes 5 end the series with a much bigger celebration? Sure, they could have done a lot more, like acknowledging the past meme events, referencing all the memes they had, and giving the series a proper send-off. But at the same time, the creators are already moving on from the series by this point, so it is understandable that they didn't think too hard on retiring the series for now. Of course, we know now that it's no longer the case anymore, with the meme series seeing a return in the next year, so perhaps it was best that things turned out this way. The last thing I'll discuss about this operation is the tour itself. It's a bit shorter lineup this time around, featuring 7 missions across 7 maps, but much like Memes 4, there was one advanced mission while the rest were of intermediate difficulty. The tour had 5 medals to collect this time, and only 4 of which were obtainable by donators. They put in references on some of them, which I'll point out when they come up. For donating $5, you can get the Happy Spud. For $15, you can also get the Bruised Johnstone, which is supposedly a reference to Pizza Tower with one of its enemies. Donating $25 will also earn you the Caustic Canteen, and lastly for $35, you can also get the Alluring Artifact, which suspiciously looks like one of the Chaos Emeralds. For everyone else who participated in the events, there was the Copper Chicanery, which yes, it's a Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul reference. Although the mission lineup is relatively the same, you didn't have to complete all of the intermediates this time. Instead, you just had to complete 6 out of 7 missions in order to earn the medal. And that goes for any difficulty. And that's all there is to know what went on with Memes 5. I hope that for the next half hour or so, you're ready to witness what was the last meme events ever, summarized across the 7 mission lineup. So, let's break out of the time loop, become French, and defeat one of the overlords of the galaxy. Miss ION is a 7-wave mission featured on a brand new meme map, 4531525. It's an edited version of Decoy, and it's absolutely uncanny with whatever the hell they put in here. And one of the vendors is Nishiki from Yakuza 1. There's also a long drop down at the right spawn, revealing a vent maze at the bottom. Getting to the end of the maze has a room decored with a Super Mario 64 interior and a segment to boot.
Hello, it's me, Mario. Oh, nice computer you got here. Can I have it? 1, 2, 3.
Before starting, we have a character with red text speaking to us, as if we met them somewhere before. They will definitely be important later. First wave, we have Scout at the front proclaiming how much they love their ball.
I love my ball!
Before the ball appears right before us, pleading that we pop it right in front of Scout, which if you just stand there, they'll just do it themselves.
My ball.
The wave then plays a cutscene where red team laughs at the scout before the scout takes his revenge out on them. By the way, this mission features subtitles used as overlays. The scout sends a bunch of invincible major lays against red team before the screen flashes as a very giant demo comes in and destroys them. The demo then approaches scout and cuts to an explosion. And they laugh extremely loudly after the fact. Then the ball from earlier comes back and is revealed as the Twist villain, transforming into a royal ball with a chair and crown on it, acting as a tank. As they complain about going too slow, they ramp up their speed to higher than expected levels, causing them to crash towards the building. Second wave, we have the emergency alert system going off. Someone is transmitting messages through a system telling us that some mysterious creatures are out to get us and will shortly transport us into a strange area. This wave brings us to the back rooms, and is a survival segment where we have to stay alive for an entire minute while avoiding the creature in question being this thing called bacteria. As we exit, the system's voice reaches us before being terminated. Third wave has a billion engineer bots. There are swarms of them all over the map of varying degrees and sizes. All the images on our screen is due to the engineers sabotaging our heads-up display, so we have to kill them all to make them go away. Towards the end, the wave will riddle you with a question as it sends out swarms of sentry busters after you. The wave then closes out with the banjo wing engineers suiciding at the front. Fourth wave is Squid Game. Before starting, the red text from earlier comes back, which I'll be addressing them as red from this point onwards. They give us a hint that the boss here takes increased melee damage. The featured game is red light green light. Red light means we have to stay still, although we can look around while being splashed with milk, while green light means we go. After getting past the doll, we can now kill it and move on. 5th wave, we start by killing several spy bots, as the image at the start perfectly conveys. Next are a bunch of body-shotting snipers looking up and pretending to be aimbotters back during the bot crisis days. There's also a flying tank at the right side of the map, along with a weird scout support named Torture Device that speed taunts after hitting you a couple of times while also giving you a weird status effect. At the end is the Insane Psychopath, a fist heavy that can occasionally taunt kill, while also periodically spawning Schizo Shadow clones on top of players that chase you around while also occasionally decloaking. As we defeat the boss, we are greeted by Red once again, who apparently knows what is going on with the mission. As Wave 6 is a full-on cutscene segment, exposition is delivered to us through various images and text on screen. To summarize, they question you about what happens after completing an MvM mission, as everything seems to reset back to 0. They reveal that we have been in a time loop since 2012 and will eventually deteriorate into a sort of nightmare realm, or end up in a forgotten mission file. Red is able to help us get out of the mission by teleporting us to a location where we must hit a reset button while avoiding the creatures laying within. This brings us to the 7th and last wave of the mission, where we must traverse through a dark labyrinth with flickering lights Machine Attacks episode 6 style. The creatures chasing after us are stretched scout bots, and getting hit by them will transport you into a room full of jump scare pictures where you will slowly die a painful death. After making it towards the tank and clearing the way, we traverse past a Chrono Barrage and a corridor full of opposing heavy props while avoiding the plethora of heavy bots, moving through a maze of water barrels before shortly reaching to the final part of the labyrinth with the reset button. Sensational Syrup is a 6-wave mission predominantly featuring TF2 related things in regards to the memes. This mission only has one custom item and it's for Sniper. It's called the Gambler's Gambit and it is a very slow firing SMG with a low clip size that shoots bullets with randomized damage bonuses, possibly up to the thousands. First wave starts with an uncanny variety of bots. We're shooting down walking Manshred shoes, floating jars including milk, Girardi, and gas cans. Then the 3 chiefs coming out are literally based off of their icons. Captain Punch is a floating picture, and Major Bomber and Sergeant Fritz are hovering as a giant bomb in the Tyrant's helm respectively. Then there's 3 banana heavies at the end one by one. The first banana walks around the field with their banana out. No, that's not a sexual innuendo for anybody listening to this video in the background. The second banana will shoot plates of bananas with its shotgun and also happens to look like a certain TF2 YouTuber. The third banana has 3 floating plates of bananas above itself and shoots with its minigun, though it doesn't hurt anybody, rather that it hurts itself. Second wave starts off with Spy Crab support. We're told that we shouldn't disturb or harm these endangered species, but of course we do it anyway. And the mission responds with a passive-aggressive statement. Next are a bunch of tanks and a blimp, or I guess a couple of blue friendlies rolling up with their vehicles, and they all get very upset over their rides being destroyed and fighting back. This wave also has red support, but don't help you at all. Instead, they're just scattered around the map taunting and being useless, and you could also shoot them in spite. At the end are 15 random choice giants that are congoing out of their spawn back to back, that will also force you to do so upon being touched. Third wave starts out with the Canteen Abuser Scout, that being a super scout running in with all canteen effects active and sweeping through the entire map. As all hope seems to have been lost, in the last few seconds the bomb uses a recall canteen to teleport back to the front, while leaving the scout completely idle and freely taking damage by his lonesome. This wave features a red support fighting alongside you, this time a heavyweight PogChamp, that when they kill something they say PogChamp, although to be honest I'm not exactly sure if it was a cut feature or just didn't work properly. Next are Boston Basher scouts that heal themselves and targets on hit, and giant black boxes sapping away their own health on hitting targets. After them is a tank zooming in from the far left and crashing into a wall. We got soldiers overloading their beggars, possibly flying all around, as well as a second tank parachuting in and exploding upon landing. Then we have swarms of brass beasts moving in at super speeds. Then at the end is a giant quickie demo and uber medic combo that are infinitely ubered. The caveat here is that the uber is simply a visual appearance as they can still take damage. Fourth wave, the wave bar is entirely full of low count custom bots and icons. We're also greeted by someone named the Time Unconstrained. This guy presents us a blast from the past. The aforementioned custom bots are all named after the maps they were featured on from past missions. Impressed with our Alongside combat prowess, they rewind the clock to bring in a chief rapid fire soldier shooting a bit faster than usual, though this boss has 2 additional phases as the time on constraint rewinds the clock per transition. The second phase has them shooting much faster, then the third phase has them using 3 additional rocket launchers to rapid fire, but with slower moving rockets this time. Killing them in this phase, their name tag reveals them as Rapid Soldier. Fifth wave is Half-Life. The team is locked to Scout, Soldier, Engineer, and Sniper classes only, and everyone uses the guns from that game. In this wave, you shoot down various bots referencing the Hiku military, with the vast majority of them using bullet weapons. The last part of the wave will have swarms of them backing up the last few giant homing soldiers that rapidly fire RPGs. Sixth wave, the last one on the mission, is error themed. Majority of the bots you fight throughout act extremely unusual. The most notable part of its first half include explosives with error particles and hordes of sniper bots lasering you down with SMGs. Second wave will bring out a giant soldier shooting explosive soldier bots along with medics that have their miniguns attached to their feet. Here you'll have a few red supports spawning in, those being Program Pummeler, Bite Bashing Buffer, Control Z, and Error Exterminator. In the finale you'll have the Vast Error acting as a heavy bot using different class animations and using various weapons, some of which shoot out error models. Upon their defeat, various effects start to occur around the map as well as everybody for that matter before finishing the mission. Collateral Damage is a 7-way mission where everybody is locked to Engineer. The name of the game is Sentry Busters, and every wave will have you utilizing custom-made Sentry Busters against the bots, hence Collateral Damage. The bots in question are pretty much standard, so for the most part I'll be highlighting said busters. First wave predominantly features a lot of normal busters. There's a Captain Punch spawning at the very end and having the name tag I hate sentries. This is very obviously meant for you to utilize the Sentry Busters against them to win. Second wave has a whole bunch of anti-gravity busters. While they may not kill anything outright, they will blast those affected high up in the sky and inflict high amounts of fall damage. Third wave features Inferno Busters. These things walk in with a fiery aura that ignites anybody upon contact, and upon detonation will cause a fiery explosion that lingers for a bit, while dealing high amounts of fire damage against those caught in the radius. There's also a Sentry Buster with a question mark in its icon and name tag that is able to freely carry the bomb behind your back. Fourth wave features the Healing Buster that does 0 damage to sentries while healing anything else in its radius. They will, however, overheal you to a ridiculous amount of health, effectively making you immortal if you can stack enough of it. It is quite helpful against the lethal firepower the wave brings out later, which includes all the crit boosted bots from broken parts. Fifth wave features the Reusable Buster. The Reusable Buster self-advertises in text-to-speech its ability to self-destruct multiple times.
Did you know that cleaning up remains of detonated Sentry Busters cost Mann Co about $400 million annually? Introducing the Reusable Sentry Buster. That's me. Unlike those other Sentry Busters, I do not explode into pieces of metal scrap, saving you the costs of cleaning the field after a robot invasion. Just hire me for $20,000 a day and I will be the one cleanly busting your sentries instead of those inferior dirty busters. This free trial is brought to you by the robots. Your free trial of Reusable Buster has expired. If you enjoyed this very clean sentry busting experience, don't hesitate to hire me again at the upgrade station. I will leave absolutely no remains of myself after performing my sentry busting.
This Sentry Buster also has a sort of frustration mechanic, where if you aren't forcing it to self-destruct, they will get very upset.
What the heck are you doing with your sentries? This is supposed to be an advertisement for a cleaner, greener way of busting sentries. Do you know how much methane your usual Sentry Buster emits every time it explodes? Do you like getting lung cancer?
You can max out their frustration meter, although I couldn't do it myself, but apparently if you do so, they play this voice line.
Screw you guys, this was supposed to be a demonstration of how clean sentry busting is the future. Oh, but I guess you mercenaries just love bleeding your lungs out. See you in hell.
Sixth wave will feature every Sentry Buster from the prior waves, along with a few new ones. One of them being a Flash Buster, moving at hyperspeeds and stunning anything in its radius, and the other being the War Criminal Buster. This one leaves a green musk on detonation, might be similar to the Inferno Busters, though I'm not entirely sure myself. There will be several squads of giant brass beast combos, however a Vortex Buster will spawn in and explode in the middle of the front, sucking everything into it and killing off the remaining bots. 7th wave, the last one in the mission, has the Doomsday Buster. This buster will stand still in front of the carrier tank and is invincible. This is essentially a ceremonial segment where the mission sends everything to completely overpower you, and you need to survive the wave for a minute until total annihilation. Once the time has passed, the buster explodes in a massive nuke explosion covering the entire map. Croissant Combat is a 6-wave mission where everybody is locked to spy. This mission takes full advantage of the revamped item system, though initially it will provide you with starter weapons like an invisible revolver being your finger gun, and your knife being just your fists in quotation marks, before getting the credits later to purchase other weapons. Players will also buy upgrades through the source spawn menu rather than the traditional upgrade UI. The most notable custom upgrade is for Spy himself, being the Special Underhill Deluxe. For 1000 credits, you get to be a superstar by being shrunk down to half the size. First wave, or I guess for this mission onwards, Wave 0, introduces us to the official Croissant Combat Union's learning tutorial program, abbreviated as ACOT. The mission makes a meta commentary on how nobody plays Spy in MvM, and designed this entire wave as a tutorial. With soothing music to start things off, we kill swarms of targets using finger guns and fists, as well as a giant angry target shooting rockets at us. The 3 tanks spawning back to back are giant baguettes. Then the mission cuts to a scene overlooking the front of the map as an explosion goes off in spawn, revealing 5 heavies using fists instead of knives to beat you up. Wave 1 has you shooting down vehicles. First are a bunch of dump trucks that are able to charge towards you, with there also being the pain train that can also do the same thing as well. Then there's jeeps shooting rocket launchers while being pocketed by ambulances, later bringing out a payload cart that detonates, instantly killing everyone caught in the map right explosion radius. There is a bus acting as a tank, and by killing it, 21 scouts spawn on their location and die on the spot, signifying that we just killed the bus passengers. The rest of the boss coming out are tanks in reality, the caveat here being that every tank is replaced with their respective robot class models. Wave 2 predominantly features robots using the RTD command. First subwave has soldiers shooting out homing projectiles, min heavies will crit players, and there's a giant punchy with the spring shoes. Then there's demos with big heads, and the bowman being forced to taunt after dropping down. The supports introduced here are invincible shortstop scouts that do nothing but shove you around, and a sergeant crits that is incredibly small but also doesn't do much damage. Next are swarms of spies that are outlined, and a plethora of invincible sentry busters chasing after players. Near the end, there's giant hot hand pyros with extended range, and a single major leak with a snail effect, capping off with a Captain Punch rolling several effects at once, preparing you for an extremely tough encounter, only to then roll a Necromash on top of themselves, ending the wave prematurely. Wave 3, we apparently get a special pop culture reference wave as a treat. Our special guest is Walter White, who is apparently here to find a special type of mutated crystal meth that just so happened to appear for this wave, and wants us to euthanize them for a collection. To support us, he sends a giant Saul Goodman who
lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips!
After purifying the crystals, a third party shows up, being Gus Fring. They are a giant demo that rapidly shoots out explosive buckets of chicken while sending out several goons. To beat them, we have to escort a wheelchair carrying a bomb that will deploy onto Gus Fring and kill them. Wave 4, we have invincible Bob Basher scouts one-shotting themselves on hit, and airstrike soldiers blasting themselves upon dropping down. Then there's giant charge soldiers firing slow-moving rockets that homing on players, where you have to run into the rockets themselves to let the soldiers die, because that's the only way to deal damage. Then the mission spams 20 fly engineers with high-pitched voices before a giant rocket flies in across the map, setting up for a meme.
Oh, you got a motor on you, all right. See, that's what he's talking about. Spread your exhaust open, dude. You can do the missile shaker, huh? The missile shaker. Give me the missile shaker, dude. Shake your motor. Take your hands off it and shake that shit. Pull your fins up. I know you can shake it. Shake it. Yeah, that's some missile ass right there. Oh yeah, that'll work. You got the booty, dude. God damn. Look good, bro. Yes. Yeah, nice, huh? All right, he knows where he is. Put that radar on.
At the end is a demo with the new Fargies on their Jeep, twerking off while shooting stickies in between taunts that damage themselves, though they will eventually stop doing so and put the wave in a limbo as they just stand there, before the mission intervenes with a mimetic anti-softlock protocol and saps away their health over time. Wave 5, the final wave of the mission, will send out chief robots one at a time, where every subsequent death brings them up to the skybox as their titan forms as they laugh maniacally and the whole map slowly turning red. With Sergeant Crits being the last one, the chiefs open up a portal from the sky. The mission ponders about the worst possible possible thing a spy could fight against, with the punchline being American bread, the intercontinental menace to French society. This giant literal loaf of bread comes down through the portal using weapons split across 3 phases. Their first weapon is a rocket launcher that rapidly shoots out explosive bread. The second weapon shoots out grenades with the lightning bolt effect on explosion and setting players caught in the blast radius on fire. They'll continue to spam it more with their third phase, but they will then also be able to grapple towards players and melee them. Upon their defeats, the mission credits Vince Gilligan at the end, and closing out with a statement, "The end, or to be continued."
I'm going to gut you like a Cornish game.
Victor, that's the last part of it.
Cacophony of Cants is a 5-wave mission, more on that later, featuring several unique weapons with various stat changes, and I say unique as in those that are not stock weapons. First wave, we have a cutscene, though it's not the camera lock sort. We witness a heavy stuck in the ground with their head propped up, and I'll just let this play out.
I am so tiny! Help! Yo, what's up? Heavy, catch this! Hey, what? Catch this!
Many thanks!
No problem. Next time, eat a salad.
Fuck you!
What's up?
Have I gained her at this
Peace. Heads up!
Your luck runs
Okay,
out.
this does not look good. Here,
I should have done this long ago. Yeah!
Oh, jeez! Thanks, Pally.
Incoming!
One wave down, but they'll be back.
Second wave, we have several robots cosplaying as each other, such as pyros shooting rockets, soldiers shooting flames out of their launchers, as well as giant scouts using grenade launchers. There are 9 tanks on this wave. The first 3 are rather normal, then there's the next batch where there are 3 tanks spawning back to back, spinning at faster and faster intervals. But in between, there will be a 4th tank here that will jump scare anyone on the track and explode the tank barrier. Alongside these tanks are a bunch of demo bots using sentry buster models, as well as a demo chief here that shoots out crit boosted bombs while frequently pulling out their bagpipes and taunting. At the end, there's a heavy that says something with sentence mixing. Soon after, there is a last tank of the wave that is near impenetrable, running over the heavy as well as killing everybody on the team with its deployable bomb, but still resulting in wave success. The team is then teleported to the midpoint of the map as the back half is closed off with barriers. Third wave is where we fight punchies, starting with a single heavy named Punch the Almighty that dies very quickly, before bringing out massive swarms of punchlings of various sizes using a variety of weapons. At the end, you'll fight against a boss named Grey Prince Punch. They are a heavy with a massive knife that moves at fast speeds while periodically sending punchlings across its 3 phases. Fourth wave, we are teleported back to spawn, and are told by someone on the opposite team that there is something at the front before setting off. The team has their stats massively boosted for this wave and fights through a couple of gauntlets around the map. In the second area, they have to find 2 keys, which are both in the middle building up and below. Clearing out all the enemies in the second area, including this massive thing that shoots out cannonballs periodically, we meet another boss at the front, which is a robot scout named S1. They use various weapons across its 2 phases. Upon their defeats, that same someone from earlier laughs at us for falling for their trick as they have taken over our base behind our backs, revealing their name as Kyle Jade. Fifth wave is where we retreat back towards our own hatch, running through all of the boss because you just need someone to reach the hatch area to have everyone fight against Kyle Jade. This boss fight is copied over from Jingu's fight in Yakuza Kiwami. Here, Kyle Jade is a gun spy that remains ubered until 2 of his bodyguard heavies die. As they reach the second phase, the bodyguards get resurrected with boosted power, but Kyle Jade can still be focused down to finish the fight early.
You did it! I can't.
But the mission is far from over. The map turns into a hellish landscape in red color as a familiar voice from Bone Shaker monologues about their own kind being slaughtered for the past 11 years before coming down to fight us in revenge and revealing the 6th and last wave of the mission. That familiar voice belongs to none other than Captain Punch, the last one at that. Captain Punch moves at fast speeds while using various guns across its 4 phases. On the 3rd phase, he retreats back towards the front while also being supported by a few robots along the way. He'll also bring in a second chief alongside, who is the mindless machine that bears a striking resemblance to Shitstorm from the previous event, with one notable exception being that they only have 1 bar to shoot down. Upon defeating Captain Punch, they end in a bombastic explosion and sending off the mission.
Good shot, lad.
Victory. We win it all.
Revengeance Status is a 7-wave reverse mission that has you attacking on blue and escorting the bomb towards the hatch. There are far too many upgrades and custom weapons to list off, but hey, at least you have Riding Shogun as your shopkeeper. And speaking of shopkeeper, this mission on a per wave basis will change them throughout, the most notable of which include Raiden like I said, as well as Goliathron and an error sign. First wave is rather normal and meant to tutorialize the gameplay loop of a reverse mission where you kill robots in segmented areas before moving on to the hatch. Obviously, as a meme mission, many of the bots have something weird going on with them. Second wave has a wave bar full of characters from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Despite that, however, the wave is a minute-long meta commentary on the whole Revengeance Status meme that I'll just play in full.
Isn't this what you wanted? Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is back, baby. It's so funny. For funny memes, funny bald guy. Revengeance Status, it's like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance and shitpost status mixed together. Don't you get it? It's supposed to be funny. It's a shitpost. But instead of the anime character I post on the thumbnail, it's actually Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance Sam. It's a standing here guy. Don't you get it? It's supposed to be funny. Instead of instead of full anime video playing, I cut through the middle of it, and I put the little cutscene of the Metal Gear Rising Sam guy. He's doing "There will be bloodshed" joke. He's clapping. Don't you get it? This Raiden is better than that Raiden. I have never played a Metal Gear game.
Third wave has you fighting an entire army of engineer bots, with many of them using various weapons and dispensers as destroyable blockades.
Engineer. Yeah, I'm engineering my fucking limit.
Later you'll fight Mr. Dispenser, split across 3 phases. At first they'll come at you as a Titan bot using a wrench, and then later a rescue ranger firing off dispensers. Next they'll be surrounded by giant dispensers spinning around themselves as armor, while they shoot out slow-moving dispensers as flares. On the last phase they'll commandeer a semi-invisible dispenser while moving extremely fast, and shooting out homing explosive dispensers. Upon their defeats, the wave will complete by itself. Fourth wave has every player become a furry without their consents, which is apparently Braixen from Pokemon. The bots that you fight throughout are rather normal for the most part. I think this is supposed to be a furry versus furry battle. Then you get to the second half of it, where there's a red Braixen Titan on top of the hatch that fires showers of fireballs with its grenade launcher. Fifth wave is where everybody returns to normal, except for any scout players as they're still stuck playing as Braixen. This wave starts with explosive gas pyros and has you escorting the tank onto the hatch while keeping it alive. Looking at the tank, you'll notice your super scout being stuck at the barrier, eventually getting crushed by it. Then they'll switch on over to red side to fight you, and upon being destroyed, they disconnect from the server. The wave plasters the map with sentries and extremely annoying vantage points, and sends several giant heavies with medics as well as snipers hitting you from the sides. Sentry busters of several varieties support you here, till a massive one deploys at the front, killing everything as well as the barriers. Nothing at this point really threatens your tank with its gigantic health pool, and as it deploys before all the wave's bots spawn, the mission celebrates and comments on how you skipped out on the rest of the wave's jokes. Which, yes, this wave does have a second scenario that plays out if you allow the super scout to deal massive damage to the tank. There are the very explosive headshot snipers that, when reduced down to 40 count, the rest of them will later spawn on top of players and suicide. There are also tiny Goliathron soldiers shooting explosive sentry busters like their standard counterpart. And there's a rainbow laser engineer camping on top of the hatch. After killing them, we then have to escort a giant heavy with the bomb, which takes forever to do so, as the wave then sends a billion spies, before something then intervenes and finishes the wave for us.
This is terrible. Who would buy stuff like this anyway? Oh, what? You think this is fun? You gotta be cuckoo crazy. You want fun? Wario show you fun.
Sixth wave has every player in their giant forms, and you fight several swarms of giant bots. After the first barrier drops, every player gets speed boosted to extreme levels where it is no longer a hassle to move anywhere. Bringing the bomb onto the hatch results in the hatch itself running away from the player. It also has a second health bar where it leaves a trail of bombs behind it. After killing it to lock it in place, the bomb can now finally be deployed. Seventh wave allows you to walk around the map freely, but upon start, you'll be locked into a cutscene.
Colonel, I've infiltrated the Memes vs. Machines event.
Excellent work, Snake. Your mission is to destroy all robots on Blue Team and earn the medal.
Got it. By the way, is anyone else feeling a little motivated?
What's wrong? Snake! Snake!
If you want it, then you'll have to take it. But you already knew that.
In this wave, you'll fight Virgil, a highly mobile Zatoichi scout with a highly extensive moveset across their 3 phases, with the environment changing throughout. His notable moves include using a variety of spells and teleportation, a move where they latch onto a wall and unleash a devastating explosive attack while diving down.
You're just gonna stand there to die!
Then he'll eventually have a doppelganger sharing the same moves but only being on field for a while. Then lastly, their signature Judgment Cuts, where they charge up an attack in a large radius, cutting anybody caught within.
Slay all.
If the fight goes on long enough, the lyrics of the music track will be referenced by the mission. The boss fight is also timed, which lasts between 9 to 10 minutes until their full music track finishes, of which will trigger a fail condition. Man vs. Machine. The last meme mission we'll cover in this series takes us to Or-Laro, which I still don't know the exact pronunciation, but goddamn does this map really feel like it's the end of our journey. The mission utilizes a custom upgrade file, though I think the only change here is every icon being replaced with a smiley face. And the mission also alters the phlogistonators to have a different effect. This is the Mega Collab mission of the events, and it is accredited to Me Smiley, which is very obviously a burner account. Although the account has mission makers on their credits, not all of them are properly credited for this mission, which I will now do so on screen. And just like with the Mega Collab mission from the prior event, hell yeah. First wave, before starting, has the mission prints out a parsing error message. However, upon looking into the console, it is fake as there is no error to be seen. You shoot down a bunch of scouts and pyros across this gigantic map while experiencing several visual effects. Some that are kinda cool, while others are honestly an absolute eyesore. Reaching halfway, the map will be enshrouded in red with a black skybox clear as day. This is the payoff of the warning text that spawned before starting, which will induce flashing colors and corruption effects, including the prior parsing error text. For anyone that are sensitive to flashing lights, I would suggest looking away right now as the segment plays out in full. Second wave, you start to feel a strange sensation before everybody shrinks down significantly. Playing out the Pizza Tower, you shoot down gnome bots of various classes. There's also a tank towards the end with a gnome hat. The wave bar depletes here, but the wave won't end. A catnip plant will spawn onto the hash, while suspense builds up to a fight against Maxwell the cat. Zooming across the entire map and eventually getting to the hash where they focus down on the catnip, while also allowing you to easily shoot down Maxwell at the same time. Third wave has a bunch of spellcasting robots. It's filled with comments smacking you with books as you get through various giants that do cast spells. There is a pyro rapidly casting fireballs, a heavy that doesn't cast anything but instead whips out their minigun. Then there's a soldier summoning rockets at you. Finally, there's the welder of the forbidden spells, and he casts Fuck You, who very rapidly casts powerful spells including meteor showers and monoculuses. Fourth wave overlays the screen with a very dark vignette. Something Wicked this way comes, which decloaks in vicinity as a grotesque melee scout called Something Wicked. They are the only thing to defeat in this wave. Fifth wave is brought to you by Void Juice, as these former Bong Scouts send themselves down into the void. This is also a custom item you can use as a scout before getting to this point. The next subwave will have Comedy Juice snipers that will douse you in Girardi, and anything you kill will force you to Schadenfreude at a super fast rate. There's also these giant pyros using the custom flog, but their flame particles not only move extremely slow, but also linger for much longer and have inverse gravity. Next are giant carbine snipers pretending to be a rapid fire soldier, and several bots that throw juices and gas cans giving various status effects. There are also giant heavies with hammers that upon eating their steak, grows their weapon in size and hammers people away. At the end is the owner and operator of Voice Juice Incorporated named James Percival Void. They are a black colored giant scout that throws Void Juice at you at a very slow rate. Wave 6 is Slenderman, but a vastly revamped iteration of its gameplay. In this wave, we have to shoot down 8 hot dogs scattered around the map while avoiding Slenderman himself. After finding all hot dogs, the mission wants us to kill Slenderman before ending the wave.
Holy shit! It's It's the Slender Man. And he's cooking hot dogs on the stove.
Wave 7 will start with a bunch of scouts and 2 giant soldiers, although the second one will drop down into the ground instead of dropping down like usual. Afterwards, the wave will proceed to become uncanny, where various robots act extremely weird and awkwardly, such as giant spies taunting instead of attacking, giant heavies shooting upwards, and demos teleporting around. As we get to the last stretch, you'll be jump scared by a swarm of hyperspeed giants, but everything fades to black as a mysterious entity teleports us back to the hatch, enforcing a hide and seek segment. Your heartbeat races, but then... Afterwards, you'll be teleported back to the front to kill a single giant soldier with medics before being jump scared once again by big rock burst fires and cutting back to the next nightmare. There were several A-posing heavies scattered about, but we have to find a Kazatsky kicking heavy to escape before the real one from earlier catches you and drowns you in a back alley. After that, the mission fades to black once again before unveiling an unwinnable scenario where a tank deploys onto a hatch, only to then cut back into the nightmare once again. This time, we have to run all the way back to the hatch from the front before the creature comes back for us again. As we do so, it's only a matter of time before they finally corner us.
Wave defeated. Well done. Now head to an upgrade station.
Wave 8, the final wave of the mission and the entire series as a whole, warps us to the second stage of the map with an arena-style layout. With a single icon on the wave bar, the mission hypes up for a boss fight. The Dominator with an iron fist, honored champion of martial arts, he who destroys worlds for his own enjoyment, is...
I will get rid of all illegal businesses in the universe. That includes you, mercenaries.
In this fight across several phases, we fight Barack Obama, the 44th overlord of the galaxy, complete with voice lines to trash talk you throughout.
I'm 47% through kicking all of your asses. You're so bad, I honestly don't Obamacare. You're all grilled cheese Obama sandwich. Maybe you should have bought something more useful with your upgrade money.
He will at one point drink an invisibility potion.
Let me be clear. You can't stop me when I am free of ambiguity.
Then he'll switch over to using a grenade launcher shooting explosive chicken legs that slowly home in.
Taste the power of products made in USA.
Later they'll transform into a spinning Obamium prism.
Nice try, mercenaries, but can you handle me in my sexiest form? Spinning Obamium Poir! I'm at my most badass, and yet you still chose to not run away from me. If only Trump could see me now.
As his health reaches to low amounts, he calls in someone to support.
Damn you Republicans!
Hey there, Obama. Looks like you need some help.
Fine, but only because I served 2 terms. Joe, what happened to your limbs?
I was conducting military training in Area 51 just now. The aliens there made my limbs really long.
Since when do you conduct military trainings?
I can't tell you about it because you're not president anymore.
I hope Trump gets your Netflix password.
Whatever Mr. Skeleton hands.
Joe Biden will heal Obama at an extreme rate, making him the primary target. He'll also throw insults at the players as Obama kills them.
I think I'm the first vice president to see the horrible red team's vile presentation of their skills. I may be sleepy, but your skills are downright sloppy. Will you uninstall Team Fortress 2, man? Unlike you, I've been drinking the most top-quality soda there is. Go back to drinking that G Fuel powder or whatever the fuck you Neanderthals drink.
When Joe Biden reaches a certain health threshold, they will unleash a powerful ability.
It's Joe over for you. Biden blast.
Then to completely overpower the players, both of them will cast
American Healthcare
that restores every player to full health at the cost of negative credits in the tens of thousands, as crippling debt. You have 10 seconds to pay it off, but by then it's too late.
Barack Obama is too strong. You need the strongest weapon in America to defeat him. This is our only hope. Quick, get in the Fazbear suits. All you needed to do was to walk into the suits, but I guess that's too much for you. There, I put them on for you. Thank me later. Anywho, you are now using the greatest weapon ever known to man. Press mouse 1 to scream with it. You need to get close to the presidents to jump scare them.
As we stuff ourselves into a Fazbear suit, we can now finally fight back against Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
Wait, isn't this the weapon we deployed to Afghanistan?
Oh my God, Joe, shut up and run. Donald, I know you're behind this.
No, I'm not. What do you mean? There's no way I was involved. I didn't even know you were here with Sleepy Joe.
That's too spooky for me, man.
I will become president again and ban FNAF.
I want to thank the people that managed to scrounge together the assets of every meme operation, because apparently they were a bitch to find. To the creators that were very much willing to fix whatever problems the missions had over the years of updates that broke them. And to my viewers, if you liked this video, thank you for watching. If you tuned into the series over the past 2 months, thank you very much for watching as well. If you're like me, you're very much eager to witness the revival of memes versus machines and ready to shit yourself over whatever hell on earth will be unleashed next year. If you want to see me cover the next entry, then feel free to hit the subscribe button. If not, well, just like with the 5th entry, it won't be the last time I ask.